When I was younger, I was a very financially savvy teenager. So I would save up a lot of my birthday money, Christmas money, and I started working when I was just 15 years old because I always liked having my own money. As a result, at a young age, I also wanted to invest my money, but I found it to be a very frustrating experience because when you're under the age of 18 years old, your options for investing money are extremely limited. Well, today, this video is for those of you who are teenagers who are not quite 18 years old, but are still looking to invest. This is going to be what options that you have in front of you. So let's start with the good news, bad news situation. The good news is that if you are a teenager watching this, the very fact that you're interested in investing and trying to do it in the first place just goes to show how much you're going to benefit from something called compound interest. Now, if you already know what this is, you can skip ahead with the table of contents, but if you don't, I'm going to cover it quickly and then I'm going to refer you to my video in the corner, which is like a mini crash course on compound interest. But basically, compound interest allows your money to grow based on appreciation over time. And the longer amount of time you allow your money to grow, especially when you leave it there or even contribute more over time, the more growth you're going to see. So the way I like to explain it is this. The number one most important factor when it comes to building wealth is not the amount of money you have right now. It's about the amount of time that you're allowing your money to grow. And then secondly, it's about your recurring contributions and consistency over time. So that's what I love about compound interest and investing. It's a very fair and equal game and opportunity that most people out there are able to take advantage of, as long as you are in a country that has functioning free markets where you're able to take advantage of investment opportunities that are actually sound. So that's the good news. Time is on your side. The bad news, legally, minors cannot invest in the stock market in the United States. However, I am going to show you the workaround called the custodial account later on in this video. However, there's more than one way to invest. It's not just about putting money into the stock market, so we're also going to explore a couple of other investment avenues that teenagers have available to them. All right, so what's the first way to invest as a teenager? Well, I know you're gonna think this is, canned advice, and because I've been making YouTube videos for 5 years, I'm just throwing this in here and regurgitating info. I promise you guys that is not the case, but I am going to tell you to invest in yourself. And I'm not telling you to go out there and buy a course. I'm talking about making a very specific and then calculated investment into your own self-education. Because right now, you have the most free time that you're probably ever going to have for the rest of your life. I can tell you this, when I was a teenager, I was spending most of my time, feeling depressed about the fact that I didn't have a girlfriend during certain points. And that's what I would focus my time on. But you could instead invest in yourself at that time and utilize that free time towards actually building up a knowledge base that you can utilize to make money in the future. Well, jobs, college, relationships, pets, and children are all going to eat into your time as you get older. And probably as a teenager, you're already seeing some of this happening because I'm sure you already have less time today than you had when you were, let's say, 10 years old. And that's just going to continue that way as you get older. Well, this is the best time in your life to spend time investing in yourself. And also, there's one thing I want to tell you here as well for teenagers watching this video, and that is the fact that these years that you're going through right now by no means define your life whatsoever. If I could go back, I guess it would be almost 12 years now, and talk to my teenage self, especially at those times when I was feeling bad about not having a girlfriend or whatever it was at the time, I wish I could have said to myself, you are focusing on the wrong thing. Focus on school, focus on friends, family, whatever it is, but don't focus on what you don't have right now because you have no idea what you're going to have in the future. Had I known I was going to, create a YouTube channel, build all these different businesses and have this really exciting life, I probably wouldn't have been so preoccupied with all of these things at the time that are now just so insignificant. So that's my little message there to the young young audience, don't sweat the little things. This is a very small component of your life, and you're going to find that to be the case at some point in your 20s, I believe. So let's talk more about this investing in yourself. And the best part about this is it usually doesn't have to cost any money because it's all about learning. Now, look, I get where you're coming from if you're saying that school absolutely sucks. I totally agree with you, and for the most part, I did not enjoy 95% of what I learned in school, and I really didn't apply myself that much because school sucks. I really just didn't enjoy it. It just was not my place whatsoever. But that's not how learning has to be. And I wish I had known this earlier because I probably would have started, getting the gears turning for my YouTube channel and my different blogs way earlier than I even did. So what I gotta tell you here, guys, is you need to start picking up books and reading books. It may not be the advice that you want to hear, but look, here's the thing. When I was reading books in high school, it was a lot of the mandatory reading, things like To Kill a Mockingbird and Shakespeare, and I really didn't like reading those types of books, so I thought all books were just terrible, and I just thought books in general sucked. Well, it wasn't until I was in my 20s where I found myself completely lost in life that somebody told me to read a book, and it was called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and that's when I realized, holy crap, books aren't actually all bad, and in fact, these things can be really interesting, and they can actually teach you how to do what you want to do in life. So if you can have that shift earlier on in life, this is one of the best times to literally just read books and learn. And if you haven't read these books yet, I want these to be the very first three. Number one, of course, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Number two is The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. And then number three, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, of course, I myself also have a publication coming out later this year in January, and I can't tell you the exact name of it yet, but it's actually going to be a practical side hustle guide where I'm going to be talking about my side hustle journey, how I became a millionaire in the process, and then most importantly, how you yourself can do the same with both an online side hustle like I did or an offline side hustle in the real world. So I don't quite yet have any information to share beyond that, but as soon as I do, you guys will be the first to know. But for now, until my book comes out sometime in January, knock out those three. That's my challenge to every teenager watching this video. And you don't even need to spend any money because I guarantee you can find all of these at your local library. And you really don't have to go crazy and read these books at warp speed. Even taking just 10 to 30 minutes a day is going to build a really solid habit of reading and starting this path of self-education. Now, that being said, beyond just reading books about money in general and learning about businesses, if you're looking to learn about specific opportunities that are good for young people to learn about, well, let's cover a number of those now. It's just going to be a mega rundown list. You have coding. You have video and audio production. You could work for someone like me. You have algorithm design, those things that, control the social media apps we're all addicted to. Sales, marketing, SEO, copywriting, content creation. Finance management, graphic design, fitness coaching, construction engineering, civil engineering, plumbing, electric, HVAC, anything trades related. Those are all really good categories for young people to start self-education. My background prior to getting into the YouTube stuff was actually the trades. I went to a 2-year school and got an associate's degree in electrical construction and maintenance. And the reason why I did that is because at the time I was looking to get into a field with good job security and good pay. And based on the figures I was looking at back then, for every 10 electricians retiring, only 6 were there to replace them. So that's why I learned that in-demand skill, but eventually found my way over to YouTube in 2016. That's all covered in my book coming out later this year, in my entire side hustle journey. Now, another common question that people ask, because it's a major decision factor you have to make at this age, is whether or not college is going to be a part of this investment in yourself. because a lot of people feel that college is just a necessary prerequisite for doing well in life. And truth be told, that was the case for many decades. However, these days there are so many different ways to educate yourself outside of saddling yourself with debt. So let's go ahead now and dive deeper into this discussion here on college versus no college and how that might tie in with these investments you make as a teenager. Because truth be told, college is actually going to be or not be the biggest investment that you make as a teenager, seeing as this is something most of us begin at the end of our teenage years. Now, here's my thoughts on college in general. I think college is something that makes sense when there is an actual goal in mind. And what I mean by that is if there's somewhere that you're looking to get, and college is what gets you there, then that's a good time to use college as a tool to get you to where you want to go. However, when you don't actually have a goal in mind of where you're trying to go, that's a bad time to pursue college, because in your late teenage years, you probably have no idea what you really want to do for the rest of your life. And then on the other hand, if you know where you're looking to go, and then you find out that there's other avenues to get there outside of college, it might make sense to bypass college altogether, not saddle yourself with debt, and then go right towards that type of self-education. For example, if you do want to learn about coding, programming, etc., look into Google and Microsoft and all these big companies that are offering free online training and then job placement into a lot of these remote work positions. So in a nutshell, if college is going to help you to get where you're going to go, college makes sense. But if you can get there a different way, I wouldn't necessarily say it makes sense today to go to college for computer programming. There's just better avenues available that are going to be way more current. So if you do decide to go to college, this is my recommendation. I would consider going to community college at least for the first few semesters to get your core credits out of the way cheap. Or you might have a community college that offers a full associate's program, which was my case with Hudson Valley Community College. That's where I got my associate's degree. Really good school, very, very good budget-friendly option. I think my entire college education for my curriculum, not including tools, was about $12,000. So in addition to being super economical in most cases, another benefit to community college is that it gives you time to basically test out the waters without committing a huge amount of money. Honestly, one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making time and time again in this time period of their lives is going right into a very expensive school out of the gate, taking on loans, and then they often find that they need to make a pivot and they've already sunk a lot of money, tens of thousands, into part of an education that they're really never going to use. Well, in my case, what most people would spend testing the waters is what I spent on my entire community college education. So even though I only utilized it for about 2.5 years and then exited that field to pursue YouTube, it wasn't like I invested a crazy amount of money and I earned back my money many times over in a high-paying field working for the power utility for many years. If you don't want to go off to community college, but you also don't want to go work at McDonald's or apply for going into the service or something like that, I would recommend doing what I did and learning a trade. There are options at community colleges, for example, where you can pay to learn auto tech, construction, things like that, but there's also options where you can learn this for free. For example, if you're looking to become a journeyman electrician, for example, the best way to get there is just becoming an apprentice electrician, not necessarily even paying for self-education. There's on-the-job training where you basically get paid to work during the day, you learn at night, and then you eventually end up making crazy money in the process. The downside is you're going to work your butt off, and that's how the skilled trades industry works. But it's still a really good option where if you're not trying to basically waste money in college and you're looking to basically find something where you can learn a trade, something you have for life, that is where I would recommend looking into. Now, another investment I would recommend making into yourself in your teenage years is into your personal health. So just to be totally upfront with you guys here, because I always am, I was definitely very overweight in my teenage years and actually most of my childhood. just because I had a real mega sweet tooth. And even then, there are times where I will have that creep back in. I'm basically over prioritizing work and not exercising, and then I have to get dialed back in and get back to an optimal weight. But when I was younger, I really didn't care about that. I didn't exercise, and as a result, I was a good 40, 50 pounds overweight. It affected my confidence. It caused me to be picked on and all sorts of different things. So it's definitely not fun. But what I can tell you from firsthand experience is that, truth be told, if you're experiencing bullying or getting picked on in high school, it's really only going to get worse in college, because people are even more, having no filter in college versus high school. So for me, because my weight problems carried over into college, I didn't actually get dialed in at the gym until my first semester in college. I dealt with a lot of bullying at my college, and then I was like, holy crap, I really need to take care of this aspect of my life, because it's bad for my health. I'm overweight, I'm getting picked on, it's affecting my, romance life, etc. So for so many reasons, getting dialed in on your health is really important when you have this time as a teenager. So I would really recommend taking some of that time that you have in front of you and dedicating it towards a fitness routine. At this time in your life, it's also great to explore options like meditation and other things that are great for mental health, maybe journaling, etc. This is just overall a really good time to build good habits for life. So now let's switch gears into your actual financial life and talk about some important steps you should take in your teenage years. So number 2, the second investment that you should make in your teenage years is setting up financial accounts for so many reasons. Having financial records on yourself is going to be very important when you're trying to get auto loans and get a mortgage down the road. So establishing financial accounts at a young age is really important. So what I recommend doing is, as soon as you have money coming in from a job, or it could be a side hustle, it could be any source, well, it's time to set up a joint checking account and possibly a joint savings account with a trusted parent or guardian. So for me, I did this when I was 15 years old, when I got my first job working at the grocery store, because I needed to have a place to deposit my paycheck. So on a Saturday morning, I went over to my mom's bank with her, and we opened up a joint account there. So the recommendation here is you should most likely utilize whatever bank your current parent or guardian is using, because that's going to be your easiest way to establish a joint account. So basically, that is going to be something to check off your list as soon as you have a meaningful amount of money, either lump sum or coming in, that you're looking to set aside. It's also going to start your history of having financial accounts, which is going to be invaluable down the road. So the third investment that you want to make in yourself as a teenager is getting a secured credit card at or around the age of 18. Now, it doesn't have to be like your 18th birthday, but I am just going to tell you guys how cool and lame I am at the same time. Because on my 18th birthday, I literally went into my bank and opened up a credit card, okay? It was the very first day that I was able to do that, and the reason I did this is because I got really good advice from one of the tellers at the branch. She had seen that I had a really good history of keeping at least $1,000 in my checking account from my job, and she said, hey, when you turn 18, come on in, and we're going to open up a secured credit card where you're able to begin building credit. So basically what they do is they lock up a certain amount of money in a financial instrument called a CD, certificate of deposit, and that backs your line of credit. So that way, basically, if you use that line of credit and don't pay your bill, they can take your certificate of deposit and pay off your credit line, meaning it's really no risk for the bank. You're putting up your own collateral and basically using your credit card to essentially build credit. In my mind, as soon as I learned about it, I felt like it was a weird way to game or hack the system, because I was like, wait, I'm just gonna get the secured credit card, a $500 line of credit, buy gas with it, and then every month pay off the entire balance and basically get the benefit of establishing credit at no cost. So that is exactly what I did. On my 18th birthday, I opened my secured credit card, and then every single month thereafter was buying my gas with it and then paying off the bill month after month. So you don't have to do it on your 18th birthday, but I cannot recommend enough establishing a secured credit card when you are 18 years old. Years later, I was able to get auto loans, and I've been able to secure 2 mortgages by the age of 26 based on the fact that I have a decade of credit history dating all the way back to my very first secured credit card. So this is just so important, and it's an easy investment that you can make into yourself in your teenage years. Okay, so moving on, the 4th option for investing as a teenager, probably the reason you clicked on this video, but if you've learned anything up until this point so far, guys, please drop me a like on the video. I hope the information's been valuable, but here we are, the custodial brokerage account. This is what is going to allow you to be able to have a investment into the financial markets, the US stock markets, alongside a parent or guardian, and then as you get older, once you are 18 years old, that transitions into becoming your financial account solely. So this is the main way to invest in the stock market as a minor. It's going to typically involve a bank, an owner, a beneficiary, and then a custodian. So with this type of account, here's how it usually works. You are both the owner and the beneficiary of the account. So when the account is opened, you're supplying them with your information as well as your personal social. And then your parent or guardian is the custodian who is actually funding and then controlling the account. So in order to do this, you are going to need to utilize a parent or guardian who has legal US citizenship, who is able to basically help you open up this account and do this shared account together. Now, if you're looking to take action on this and deploy this strategy, one way you could do this is utilizing M1 Finance, which is a trusted brokerage platform that I've been talking about on this channel for basically 4 or 5 years at this point in time. They offer custodial accounts through their paid plan called M1 Plus, which does come at an annual cost of $125 per year. However, it does come with a ton of benefits, one of them being the fact that you can do a custodial account with a minor. So that is one avenue you have available, is having a guardian or parent opening up an M1 Finance account, getting an M1 Plus subscription. So if you guys want to learn more about the M1 Finance custodial accounts, there is going to be an affiliate link down below for M1 Finance, or you can go to ryanoscribner.com/M1-finance to learn more. I also have a completely free 30-minute step-by-step video training that walks you through how to get started with M1 Finance. That is also going to be linked up down in the description below. Now, the process of opening that account is going to be relatively straightforward. In the case of M1 Finance, like we said, your parent or guardian would open that account first, establish an M1 Plus subscription, and then they would open up a custodial account with you, utilizing your social, their social, and all of that information. At that point, they would direct funds into that account, and then you are ready to decide what to invest in. Well, one of the many reasons why I like M1 Finance is because they give you the DIY option of building your own portfolio of stocks or funds, or you can utilize one of the dozens of expert portfolios that are totally free on the side of M1 Finance to invest in. So M1 Finance doesn't charge any management fees, commission fees, anything like that. There may be asset management fees associated with the individual funds, but they offer these pre-built portfolios that are a great option for long-term investing, especially as a teen. So your goal at this age shouldn't be to figure out the next big, meme stock or anything like that. If you want to dabble with that, you could certainly, try it out and see what the experience is. But what I recommend doing as far as investments at this age is not going all in on one strategy, trying different things through the help of your parent or guardian, of course. And then if a strategy loses you money, you don't want to repeat losing strategies. So if you test out, a meme stock or something and you have a bad experience, for example, maybe you don't repeat that in the future. If you have a good experience, then maybe you learn more about why that happened, and that may turn into a strategy. So just be open-minded, test things, and don't, become married to any one given thing early on. If you do want, the typical advice for what's going to work for most people, that is going to be investing in low-fee index funds, which is very easy to do through the M1 Finance expert pies or portfolios. You could also build one yourself if you wanted to, using something like Vanguard index funds. If you want to learn more specifically about these best ETFs to hold for life, I just did a video on that topic, and I will put a card up in the corner for you to check out after this video. But in a nutshell, index funds, or ETFs, are basically baskets of different stocks out there that give you diversified exposure to the financial markets. By far, the most popular one is VOO, the Vanguard S&P 500 Index Fund. So if you're looking to dummy-proof this and do it in the simplest manner, you could literally just open up a custodial account and have your parents plopping the money into VOO, and probably that would be your best option because you're owning the S&P 500 in a low-fee diversified manner. What I will say is it's never a good idea to just dump all your money into the markets at once, so I would recommend using an automation feature like you can on M1 Finance and doing recurring contributions every week or every month, and then dollar cost averaging into that position. So fifth and finally on the list here, I want to finish off with this idea of starting a business as a teenager. Now, while this may not seem like investing, starting businesses and just testing business ideas as a teenager is going to give you some of the most valuable experience of your entire life. As you're going to read in my upcoming book about my side hustle journey, it was actually these lessons I learned, with my childhood lawn mowing business and things like that, that carried on into my adulthood and basically were very important in my YouTube channel and other, business endeavors I'm involved with today. So I would totally recommend, with some of that extra time as a teenager, exploring different business ideas, especially during summer vacations. Personally, that was my favorite time to try different business ideas, was during summer, because I would always get really bored and I didn't want to just sit around and do nothing, so I would just try all sorts of different things, which usually was trying to make money. So let's talk about different business ideas for teenagers, and as you're going to see, I've tested most of these myself. Well, we can look at someone like Financial Wolf, who was basically a high school student who started selling candy and testing these different business ideas that teens can have, and then he springboarded that into a full-blown YouTube career. If you want to check out his channel, I'll put a card up in the corner. He's actually now a roommate to my former YouTube editor and a close friend of mine, Jake Carlini, who's actually from my hometown, who basically saw what I was doing on YouTube, learned from me, and did his own entertainment channel, and now they live together in Austin and sort of have a YouTube creator house together. But if you are looking for business ideas, Financial Wolf has tested most of them, but I am just going to run through a mega list now. Well, the OG business, of course, selling things at school. You are going to want to operate under the radar because it is against most schools' policies. I learned this in 7th grade when I was selling the Aldi knockoff of Red Bull out of my locker. I would walk there because it was walking distance to my house at the time, buy a bunch of the Red Thunder, and then I would sell it for $2.50 out of my locker. Well, I did get called into the principal's office, and I didn't get a referral, but they did say if it happened again, I would get a referral, and then it would be in-school suspension, so I closed up shop and stopped selling my Red Thunder. But it is up to you if you want to take that risk of selling things in or at school. It's probably not a good idea, but you know what? You can make your own decision on it. Basically, it's a judgment call at that point in time. I'm not going to tell you what to do on that, but it's something that I've done. It's all about risk and reward in life. So what I would say on that is look at the risk and then look at the potential reward and see how those balance out. You just don't want to take something that's a huge risk where there's like a minimal reward on the other side. So moving on from selling things at school, which is definitely a gray area business, here's some other ideas. Of course, there's content creation on platforms like TikTok, YouTube, podcasts. Of course, be careful about putting yourself online and with your personal information, and get permission from your parent or guardian before you are putting content out there as a minor, just because you do need to be careful and understand, what you actually are doing. A lot of people don't realize that putting videos online and content online does come with risks that have to be understood. Beyond that, flipping items on Facebook, eBay, Craigslist. One of my classic moves was to go garage sailing on the weekends with my godfather, buying a bunch of stuff, cleaning it up, and then listing it on Craigslist, and then selling it throughout the week to try to make some cash money. Other options include graphic design. You could learn about affiliate blogging, which is also what I do. You could learn about landscaping and service-based businesses, dog walking, pet nannying, etc., etc. These are all great business options to explore as a teen. And honestly, the first business doesn't have to necessarily be this crazy idea, because the first business doesn't need to be what you do for the rest of your life. It's also very unlikely to be that way. It pretty much becomes this decision of whether or not you want to have spending money as a teenager, or if you need to make money depending on your situation. While you decide, do I want to do a business opportunity and maybe make more money and learn different skills, or do I want to just get a part-time job where I can learn different things but at a fixed rate of pay? You just have to see which option makes more sense for you. But if you have the entrepreneurial bug, you're probably going to want to explore the business route. You're going to learn a lot more and probably find it to be a better process overall. However, that being said, I did both. I worked many different part-time jobs as a teenager, and I was pretty much always working from age 15 up until when I turned 22, I believe is the year that I quit my job to pursue YouTube full-time in 2017. So now from age 22 to 27, I've been completely unemployed, fully supporting myself from my online business endeavors. So those are the best ways that I see to invest as a teenager. I want to end off with some closing thoughts here to leave you with overall. Well, first of all, there's no more valuable resource in your life than time, and you're going to learn this more and more as you get older. Trust me, if you go talk to older people and then people maybe even at nursing homes, what people want more than anything is time, and no amount of money can buy it back. And so if you're bored as a teenager, understand this is a temporary thing, and later in life you're probably going to wish that you had more of that time. So just try to best utilize it now and don't squander it. Now, this doesn't mean you need to spend all of your time trying to make money. You should also be spending it on experiences and, just trying different things. What I always like to look at when I was a teenager is, am I breaking the law or not? I truth be told, I probably did some things that were on the edge, and I learned from those experiences, but I always looked at it as I don't want to be getting in trouble with the law. For the most part, there were some speeding tickets here and there, but, I always was just testing different things, and it's really a great time to just try different life experiences. My recommendation is don't break laws, because you're going to affect your future if you get a misdemeanor or an arrest record. So again, going back to risk and reward, just look for those experiences that have a cool reward, but you're not risking illegal activities or getting arrested. And within that realm, there's still a lot of really fun stuff and cool experiences to be had as a teenager. So I would recommend, exploring that alongside businesses and the more serious side of life. Ultimately, by investing in any form in your teenage years, you're setting yourself up for success in your 20s. And what often happens is that people in their 20s have a wake-up call to, holy crap, I didn't make good investments in my teenage years, in my health, or in learning how to, take care of myself or do laundry, etc. And then that becomes a big problem point in your 20s. So don't go crazy with trying to be hyper efficient, but do keep in mind this idea of setting yourself up for success as a teenager and getting ready for adulthood. Guys, thanks so much for tuning into the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure and drop a like. Leave me a comment down below if you have any questions. And once again, if you are looking to take action and open up a custodial account, be sure to check out M1 Finance down below to learn more about the custodial accounts. And then you can always talk to a parent or guardian about that as an avenue for investing as a teen. Thanks so much for tuning in, and as always, I hope to see you guys in the next video.